if Abyssal Reef for GuMiho versus soO. To the bottom right hand side of the map, it's our blue Terran player. Give it up if you're cheering on from OGaming, GuMiho. He's playing against the red Zerg player to the top left hand side of the map. Give it up if you're cheering on soO. Whoa, 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 what's going on? Alright, I was about to do a few shoutouts for what's been going down. Kind of when we've been off stream, guys, actually, because we've had a whole bunch of support coming in off stream. So let me just, during the rebroadcast, I should say. So just to run through this quickly, we did have let me find where we were at. XCOM, first of all, today at $15, and he said, for the BlizzCon. So thank you very much, BlizzCon. This is about 4 hours ago. It's during the rebroadcast, so it's a little bit off. If you're here, then thank you very much. If you're not, can we see some appreciation for the $15 donation from XCOM? TurboGod came in for the 5-month resub and said, you're such a good cast, and hope to see you cast more in WCS. So we're going to get some love for TurboGod's 5-month resub. Moving on up, we have X-Wurzak, who said, Wardy love with a 4-month resub coming through. Thank you very much, X-Wurzak. Some love for that as well, guys. And just recently, we have Piff CGR coming in with the 9-month resub here today. And that is, of course, a fantastic one as well. A third 9-month resub of the day. Some love, please, for Piff. Thank you very much for supporting the stream. And a huge shout-out to our man who has just donated $50 1 minute ago. Can we get some love up here, some hype up in here for Leval BW, who just said, with a $50 donation, let's really get some hype for this, to the adorable Brit, who continues to save esports, Craigasm. Dude, thank you so much for the $50. Do appreciate the support. Can we get some hearts, some hype, some many things up in here, guys? Because a $50 donation is definitely not one that comes around every day. Thank you so much for the support, bro. Do appreciate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Give you another nice shout out after this game. For now, though, we better focus up on the game as we kick it off into Game 1 of this best-of-5 series. It is a 6-worker start here. That's the whole kind of jive of this tournament, the whole vibe, is that you start with 6 workers instead of 12, and we sort of look at it and we're like, well, is it good or is it not? Do we prefer 12 workers or do we prefer 6? Or we might just say, I think, in my opinion, it's kind of matchup dependent. It's kind of also just kind of game dependent as well. I think some games, the 6-worker start's like, whoa, this is really cool. And other games, I'm like, God, this has taken way too long to do anything, you know? So I have a lot of mixed feelings about this so far. In good ways, you know, I just think there's positives and negatives to both. In TVZ, though, I really do feel it's a matchup where it doesn't benefit from the 6-worker start. It does benefit from having 12 workers, because so often you just see both players building up in the early game, and so the 6-worker start really does just put you in this position where you just extend the early game, even though nothing too crazy is going to be happening. Compared to, for example, the TVP matchup we might see later between Innovation and Zest, I feel so much more can change in that matchup because of the ways that early 1-base players can come out the Protoss player, how they can be more committed with a 6-worker start, how the Terran choices can be a bit more committed as well. I think that creates a bit more diversity and some more interesting openings, albeit you will have some of those games where both players decide to macro and it will still just take a bit longer to set on up. But I do like it on the TVP, I think. TVZ, not so much. It's a little bit slow to get going. You don't really see a lot of all-ins in TVZ. Super early game, and especially not many that benefit from the 6-worker start. The only one that really comes to mind is kind of like an 11-11 or something. We used to see kind of a couple of these OG 6 starts events. We've seen kind of openings which are like the 10 depot 10 racks, or 888, the 8 depot 8 racks 8 gas or so. That's been something that's been kind of cool before. But it's not something which kind of, you know, it doesn't come out all the time, right? So it really is one of these matchups, I think, that does benefit from the 12-worker. But this is a 6-worker start tournament. The nice thing about that is once we get past the first couple minutes of the early game, it very much so is just standard StarCraft 2, standard Legacy of the Void as we know and love as of this, you know, in this day and age. So, you know, it's still very watchable. If you're looking at this like, well, I don't want to watch StarCraft with weird things going on, this isn't really that weird. You know, okay, the first 3 to 5 minutes are going to be a bit different, but afterwards, it's going to be very standard. It's going to be your good old StarCraft. And you can already see right now the builds very much so resembling builds we expect to see in modern-day TVZ. A Hellbat build coming in here from GuMiho, most likely an Armory, probably about to pop on down in the next few moments, although perhaps not. He's getting a medevac out. I really thought with a medevac, these Marines, these Hellions, then Armory would come down and he'd be going Hellbats, but perhaps not. I guess we'll be seen in the next few moments. He'll load up the Marines. I guess he's just going to run the Hellions across the map, so no Armory. Okay, then. That's a little bit intriguing because it just feels though it's a Hellbat attack, and I think soO sort of feels the same. A Baneland Nest already coming down for him on the natural expansion, so setting up in towards that and getting that rolling for himself. As we do see a whole bunch of those Hellions coming through the center. Reaper hopping up and down. It's still going to be a powerful attack from GuMiho. It's just not quite going to have that beefiness that the Hellbats usually bring to the table. Obviously, he wants to maybe just run by a little bit, maybe pull the Queens into the main base. It's not going to happen, though. So many Lings already run into the main, and so GuMiho here is going to be able to shut that down. We're actually going to see the Lings going to get surrounded on these Hellions. GuMiho, he's taking a lot of damage on the Medivac. It's going to go down to the Spore Crawler, and soO is going to end up completely shutting this down. The Zerglings have a surround on the Hellions there. They're backed into the corner. And he doesn't lose anything, really. I mean, okay, he trades out the Lings for the Hellions, but killing the Medivac, killing those Marines, not losing any mining time, really. Just a couple of drones at most. One drone killed. This really was a perfect defense from soO. Not so much a perfect defense, it's just a bad execution, I'd say, by GuMiho. And that's not to take away from what soO did, but really, GuMiho put himself in a corner. He allowed himself to be trapped, and he really, really did put himself in a tough position to make anything work there. Flying that Medivac around through the Spore Crawler, etc. He made it difficult for himself, and he couldn't find a way out of it. We are going to be seeing some typical GuMiho. Armory comes down late, so we're going to be seeing Banshee into Hellbats, into probably continued mech play as the third CC comes up. This Banshee does cloak, and there is going to be the opportunity to kill a couple of drones between the mineral lines right now. Nice save so far, though, by soO. Oh, 2 drones in a row. He gets to save this one. He doesn't, however, but still 2 workers back to back. Nice little save right there, but he, no, he cancels the spores, and how the workers go down nonetheless. Lau on the way up to make it a bit easier to defend from this Banshee, and the upcoming Banshee as well, which is starting to push out onto the map as we speak, moving in towards the upper left-hand side of the map. GuMiho looking to see what he can get up to. Roach upgrades from soO, missile upgrades on the way out. Not really too much of a surprise, honestly, considering the fact he pretty much expects GuMiho to be playing mech here. That is GuMiho's playstyle. It's very predictable, but it's very solid, and that's why you can get away with being a little bit predictable in this. So, it's no real worries for him as we see a Hydra Den from soO as well. Actually starting up the Baneling speed, and maybe we actually see a little bit of Hydra Bane. I actually didn't see, I thought there was a Roach Warrior, just assuming. Maybe he just wants to play Hydra Bane in general. Maybe he hasn't thought so much about this actually being mech then. See a few more Lings on the way out to defend for now. The initial Hydras will not be brilliant against the Hellions in low numbers. The Hellions can roast them up. As we're going to be seeing the Hellbats going to start morphing in. Queens are working their way through those Hellbats, and they're continuing to be picked away at. So it's a good defense again by soO. Some lost mining time though, and that does begin to add up as the game goes by. Meanwhile, 2 Banshees coming into this direction. He loses one of them, but has picked up another couple of drones, keeping GuMiho very much so up there when it comes to the economy. As we're going to be seeing the Banshee going up towards the upper left corner, just to hide away for a couple of moments. A 4 on the way out, as of course GuMiho just wants to make sure he's not going to be caught off guard by any sort of, Mutalisk play, air-based play in general. Something he doesn't have anything that shoots up right now, so generally getting that 4 out, etc., will go a long way for him. As we see those Hellions just going to pull on over to the far left-hand side, going to get ready to do some roasting away in this mineral line up here. Infestation Pit dropping down as well from soO. A few extra Hydras coming down as we see those Hellions jumping around. 1 worker goes down. He'll get 2 more. I mean, usually Hellions for 2 or 3 workers isn't really worthwhile, but when it's in this situation of actual mech play, the Hellions are very much so a mineral dump that you're happy to keep trading out for any sort of workers to just slow the Zerg down and to make his life more difficult when it comes to being able to continue defending in the foreseeable future. 7 Hydras on the way up from soO, continue to build up into what is just Ling Hydra Bane right now, and how effective will that be at dealing with this mech army? Well, I guess we'll find out over the next few minutes. You're going to be seeing a few more mules dropping down on the third base. This engineering bay just sat behind the third base as well. Another 4 just moving on forwards, looking to see what's up, looking to see what is happening. Change line. Over to the right-hand side, we'll be looking around here as well. We do see this SCV coming forwards. Will be thrown on down this command center. So command center again thrown on down right now, and we are going to be seeing these Queens going to be continuing to just move outside spread creep as soO takes his 4th base, his 5th base, and all the rest of it. But you can really see the repercussions of the kind of, I guess, just losing drones throughout. I mean, he lost 23, 24 now throughout the game as these Banshees come back in. This is nice, going to get a kill on the Spore Crawler. No, nice cancel. So you're really doing the best you can to keep these alive. But having lost 26 workers throughout the game against GuMiho, who hasn't skipped a beat, it adds up to this point now where soO is trailing by 30 supply or so. He's making mistakes such as getting himself supply blocked. And GuMiho in general, just looking very good for himself right now. As we see these couple fours on the low ground, the tanks and Hellions joining up as well. GuMiho looking to see what he can do. Hydra's pulling back from soO up the left-hand side as extra extractors will come on down. A Spore Crawler will burrow in this mineral line all over again. And meanwhile, we do see Banshees pushing forwards to be able to pick off another couple Creep Tumors here. And they're going to come in now and clean up one more there as well. And then still just seeing where else they can get to. As we're going to see some more Creep cleaned out at the front. Good stuff by the Banshees. I mean, the more you get rid of this creep, the more open the map becomes for yourself to play it out. And that just makes your pushes a little bit stronger. And talking about pushing, GuMiho 180 supply. It's pushing time, really. And as I say it, there he goes. He's going to start moving out in towards the center of the map, towards the upper left-hand side, to be able to work his way through this army to try and just get that deadly mech push going. You push out at 180 so that back at home, you have units continuing to produce and coming out to deal with counterattacks, and so that when it comes to kind of remaxing, you've already got some units at home ready to go. You're not just left with anything in the face of a counterattack as well. So it's almost always better to push out just before being maxed out than actually at maxed out. Although that said, GuMiho is pretty much rallying everything across the map anyways. Maybe feeling pretty confident right now as we're going to see Ling Hydra Bane starting to roll forwards. The first few Hellbats taking a couple of hits. GuMiho loses a Medevac that's trying to micro around here. And those Medevac's not really here to do much other than, I guess, heal up the Hellbats a little bit, but really maybe just drop some fours around, maybe drop the Hellbats on top of this army as well. Tanks are sieging as GuMiho approaches from the east. And already that tank line looking a little bit scary. 2 Banshees, 3 Banshees from earlier in the game are still up in the skies as well. There'll be some extra damage output. soO has gotten up to Hive Tech. He's got these Vipers. His Ultras aren't here just yet though. And honestly, they're not going to be here in time to defend this base. Problem is, if you give up this base, then you lose the position to attack from a kind of normal angle. It becomes difficult attacking down this ramp and that ramp, and from over here, you're attacking through multiple choke points rather than a bit more of an open area, and that becomes very difficult to really kind of justify. But you can see he's just not ready to fight because his army is disappearing as he pushes into this mech army right now. And as there's only Lingers and Hydras left, the tanks will make very short work of them. More Hellions coming in to be Hellbats to tank at the front of this army as well. And this really is looking as though soO doesn't have much of an answer anymore. You'll see the Ultra's going to be transfused, and I love the pickup on the fours and pulling them back, putting them behind the tanks, because they really are going to damage those Ultras so heavily throughout the fight if they stay alive. And that's exactly what they've done right there. GG by soO. GuMiho's mech is just a little bit too strong here. Bottom right-hand side is that Red Terran player who has the power to go on to match point with this game. Our Red Terran from OGaming. It's GuMiho. Top left-hand side, the blue Zerg player is going to be soO, looking to try and bring it back. Mech play didn't really catch him off guard, I feel as though he had a good game plan. Just imagine he didn't lose 25 workers throughout the game. Suddenly, his Hive is that little bit earlier. Suddenly, he has the Ultras out for the first wave of that attack, and it becomes very, very, very different. Is this a replay? Yes, we are casting from replays here today, guys. The reason for that is, of course, it's a French tournament. This is run by OGaming, and their broadcast schedule is generally at 8 PM CEST. And so they have the players play these matches earlier in the day. So this was played earlier today. And then we cast from replays right now. So nobody knows these results apart from the OGaming TV admin. So it's basically like watching it live, if I didn't tell you it's from replays, more or less. So it's pretty much as live as the replay casting will get. Anyways, we set this up, look to see what's going to happen as we enter Game 2 of this best of 5. So far, slow standard builds, looking to be a Reaper expand against the Hatchery first from soO. Nothing too crazy right from the get-go. Saw someone asking in the last game about me casting StarCraft Remastered games. It's a tough one because I don't think I can actually cast StarCraft Remastered because I don't know the game well enough, so probably not, but people seem to want to see me playing the game a bit, so I guess we'll give it a try and we'll play it a little bit and stuff. Maybe if we can learn enough, we'll do some casts, but right now it's looking kind of unlikely unless there's a big reason for me to put a lot of time into learning the game, but it's kind of difficult to learn an entirely new game to cast. It does take up a lot of time, and if there's not many events or anything for us to cast, then it doesn't really make much sense to then put that time in, you know? Know what I'm saying? So, yeah, as we do just set up here into game number 2. We're going to see what's going to happen in the next few minutes. It's a little bit of a slow start, but again, we were talking about this at the start of the last game where the TVZs on this 6-worker start really are just that little bit slow to start because there's not really anything there, which is sort of like, oh, you know, which really kind of compels you to kind of like get this going or anything. Like, you know, if you're both just going to macro, you're both just going to macro, and TVZ has always been this matchup where even the aggressive builds come off of very macro-focused openings. Like, if you go Roach Ravager, Ling or something, you're still going to build up into the hatchery and up into kind of almost about 2-base saturation and start the third hatchery. If you're aggressive as the Terran player, you still generally build up into 2 bases, and then you go in towards the Hellbats or whatever. You know, there's not really a lot of 1-base aggression that works in this matchup. There never really was. And that's what's kind of, you know, again, kind of maybe gives us the fact that TVZ isn't the best example of the 6-worker starts. But again, I feel like a lot of the... I think actually TVZ is straight up the worst matchup for the 6-worker start comparison. Like, it is straight up just not better than a 12-worker start. But I am excited to see that TVP, remember, Innovation plays Zest in a best of 5 after this series. And I feel like that could be very, very interesting, because Zest is definitely someone who will change things up. He will play a bit aggressively if he needs to, and he will take the opportunity to play that bit more aggressively off of, you know, the 6-worker start. And it's something we saw him doing in his PvP the other day against Stats. He was playing 1-base free-gate all-ins and free-gate blink all-ins and all these sort of things you just don't see so much in kind of modern-day PvP, which is nowadays really much, you know, very much so focused around, for the majority of games, expanding and playing off of the expansions. So it's interesting, and I am intrigued by the TVP. But I mean, a great TVZ series on our screen nonetheless. Just taking a few minutes to get into this second game as the third hatch will come down back at home for GuMiho. Starport on the way, and of course it wouldn't be GuMiho if he wasn't making Hellions and already floating his barracks off to the side. Not even going to use it to build add-ons, just going to fly it over here and keep an eye on things. So already seen that this will be mech from GuMiho in game 2 of the series. Wouldn't be surprised if he played mech every game, more or less. I mean, that is how GuMiho likes to play it. As this time we're going to be seeing, actually the Widow Mine's coming out, so maybe a Widow Mine drop into extra Hellions. Small supply block here for GuMiho. Getting caught up, remember, because it's a 6-worker start, the build order is obviously different from what these players have been practicing for quite some time now. And so there will be little things where you're like, oh shit, they got supply blocked, and it's just one of those things where they're not as used to having to build a supply depot at that point of this build or so, because of the way that the 6-worker starts does change things up. We were talking about it a little bit yesterday, how that kind of can affect kind of the scouting as well, where it's like, sometimes you'll scout things, and because you're just not quite used to these timings, it can create a little bit of confusion in your mind. You know, you can look at things and be like, well, you know, this is like kind of weird because he's got this, and so that usually means that, but actually it's way later, and it can be tough to read. And we've seen that in past events of the OG6 start where, you know, players have been caught off guard by builds because they just completely misread what they actually scouted. So it's interesting. It's an interesting sort of setup as we do see this medevac looking to get in towards the back of this natural mineral line, and obviously we'll want to try and unload these Widow Mines. And there's a couple of Marines now. The Widow Mine going down. Will it get targeted in time? It will not, and the drones! 3 of them going down right there. And in the main base too, it's going to be a nice target fire. Oh, what an explosion! 8 kills on that second Widow Mine. This medevac looking as though it might just about get away in time as well. Medevac survives. Widow Mine's still in the mineral lines as well. There is not Spore Crawlers built just yet. And so soO is in a little bit of trouble. As now we're going to see 4 Hellions dropping in towards the main base. They are going to look to run on forwards and cause even more havoc just before soO is able to clean up these Widow Mines. So it's going to distract him. It's going to cause him to kind of look elsewhere. And suddenly these Widow Mines are going off again rather than being cleaned up. Widow Mine will kill a Roach, or nearly kill a Roach here. As now we're going to see Hellions just going to go down to the low ground. 3 Hellions still enough to roast these drones. And we are going to see a few more drones going down. I say a few more. GuMiho is already on fire. Well, maybe he's not on fire. Maybe it's the drones that are on fire. But it's going crazy for him so far. 24 workers killed in the first 6 minutes. That is pretty much what GuMiho did in 10 minutes of the last game. And soO struggled to kind of macro from that, you know, from there in the last game. How will he manage it this time, being so low on drones even earlier in the game? soO struggling a little bit with these early game defenses and really allowing GuMiho to just be the controlling factor, the controlling player in these matchups. These 4 Hellions pulling back over to the left side once again, and we'll just try and run on through and see what else he can get up to. Going to find himself a couple drone kills right there, and then a couple more once again. 4 Hellions still just moving forwards and going to continue to roast up drones and all the rest of it. As you can see, just good damage being done here by GuMiho. So good damage being done, nothing too crazy. Meanwhile, in the main base, the Raven comes in. double order turret, and just makes life even more miserable for soO, who loses the queen. And soO just cannot catch a break. Finally gets rid of all of this harassment for the moment. Behind this, GuMiho is just like, oh, you're struggling to saturate your free bases? I've got third base landed. I've got all my production set up for the mid-game. I'm making Vikings and tanks and Hellions and Blue Flame and +1 attack. You know, I've got Banshees coming to make your life hell yet again. I've got a Hellbat drop coming over. What are you doing, soO? soO's just like, well, I'm trying. I tried to do anything. Trying not to die. And he really is dying in the last few moments. Not the best of play from soO so far. Just a little bit sloppy. A little bit unfortunate to see him falling apart so early on in these games. 7 more overlords on the way up as soO here will just be looking to get these out. Looking to just get it set up in a way that he's going to be able to keep on coming around. Hellbat dropping the natural is actually doing quite a bit of damage. I mean, drones are going down. And meanwhile, drones pulled away from the main previously. Now they go back to be pulled away yet again. And I think the biggest thing here is, okay, GuMiho is killing a lot of workers, 36 now killed. He's also just straight up forcing so much lost mining time, which is absolutely insane. soO really struggling here. Really, really struggling here. More tanks on the way up, a couple more Liberators as well. Hydralisk speed, or the Hydralisk muscular augments upgrade has just finished up. So upgrade still rolling on in here from soO as well. Hive now on the way up. +2 missile attack coming in from soO. That roach speed as well, not far away from completion. And we'll be finishing up somewhat soon, somewhat shortly. Full factory coming down towards the lower left-hand side. Hellions from GuMiho going to push out onto the map as well. 7 Hellions here. We'll look to see what they can try and get up to. And I'm going to come up around the top side and jump in towards the natural expansions. We already see a scan coming down and a couple of Crypt Tumors getting picked off here right away. Just a couple of Crypt Tumors going down, some Cyclones coming out as well. GuMiho really just building up a mix of everything. As again, 145 supply. In the next minute or so, we should be seeing that push out from GuMiho. It's that stage of the game where he is happy he's got enough and he wants to start pushing out before being maxed for the exact same reasons we talked about in game number 1. So he's set up towards that point. Until then, he's just going to keep throwing Hellions at drones, Hydralisks, and everything else, and they're just going to keep on roasting so much here. These 2 roaches barely even kill a Hellion because they actually, so many of them get around red health. GuMiho just running circles around soO right now as Liberators find themselves Overseers. Can anything go right for soO? What's soO even killed this game? 12 Hellions, 4 Marines, which were in the initial drop, the medevac from the initial drop, and 2 Widow Mines. Like, I mean... I mean, like, he's barely lost anything, you know? GuMiho's barely lost anything at all this game. Like, he might lose this game having only lost, like, basically Hellions, and I mean, you can see in the center of the map as GuMiho has finally pushed out here. He's just going to clean up everything, no problem at all already. And we're just going to be seeing these couple of Hydras just going to get pushed away as well. They're going to have to pull up in towards the high ground, but I mean, it's just a little bit too late already, I think. Hydras will turn and fight, Libs will siege up, and the Hydras don't even know what to fire on. The Hellions that will roast them, the Liberators that are about to just blow them to pieces, the tanks that are going to make everyone's lives a destruction. Like, I don't know, like, the tanks, there's no answer to the tanks here. Like, we're talking about the Hydras maybe cleaning up Hellions and Liberators. Then there's like 6 tanks to deal with, never mind all of that. And as they siege up, it very well might just be the last few moments of this game. Number 2, GuMiho. It's looking fantastic so far. See today, and hopefully you guys are feeling very much so the same. Hopefully settled down and ready to keep on enjoying some great StarCraft 2 action with us for the rest of the night. The top left-hand, bottom left-hand side of the map, Newkirk Precinct. It is going to be from Sidestorm Gaming. It is GuMiho. Bottom right side, our Red Zerg player. Give it up, guys, if you're cheering on soO. How is everybody doing in the chat today, by the way? Fantastic to have you with us, of course. OGaming are very happy with the numbers we've been getting for the English cast of this event as well. So, very much so, thank you to you guys for joining me. And, of course, a huge shout out to OGaming for putting this event series on and for allowing us to once again be the English cast, bringing you guys these games day after day for the last couple of days. This is sadly our final day of the event, although there's a lot of StarCraft coming up in the next few days. If you didn't know, Shoutcraft King starts tomorrow for the new edition, for this month's edition. Monday is going to be a whole bunch of online events before Tuesday and Wednesday we enter WCS EU Challenger League qualifiers, and then Friday and Saturday will be the main event of WCS Challenger League as well. So, hopefully you guys are enjoying all of these events. Lots of StarCraft coming your way for the next month or so, honestly. It's action-packed the next month. It truly, truly is. So hopefully you guys are all enjoying, and I mean, I definitely am myself. As we get set up into GuMiho soO game number 3. Do let us know who you're cheering for, whether you're cheering on soO, whether you're cheering on GuMiho, whether you're maybe just excited for that Innovation versus ZvT series. I want to hear it from you guys in the chat. Let me know what's up, let me know who your player of the day is going to be. As we set up into this and just look to see what direction things are going to be going into over the next few minutes. And I mean, so far, not much has happened. So far, it's pretty chilled out again. First few minutes of this TVZ will be fairly laid back, it seems, with just a Reaper expand on the way from GuMiho, very similar to what we've been seeing from games number 1 and 2. Though GuMiho has shown us some different builds, some different openings in games 1 and 2, so intrigued to see what it'll be this time. The first time, well, both times have been kind of revolving around Marine, Medevac, Hellion sort of pressure. In the first game, Marines and Hellions just went across the map on their own. Second game is a Marine Widowmine drop with the Hellions running by. And this game, well, we're yet to see, of course. Could be either of the aforementioned, or it could be something completely different from GuMiho here. We'll find out shortly. What's up in the chat? Flotch, who just hits us up with that 7-month resub. What's up? How you doing? Woo! 7 months already. Hot damn. Well, yeah, that's crazy, man. Thank you so much for the 7 months of love. Give me some Wardy hearts up in here for Flotch. Thank you for your support, for your sub. Do you appreciate it? Of course, if you guys are enjoying the stream, you can support the channel. Following is super easy and free to do. It's to the upper right of your screen is that follow button. Of course, outside of that follow button, you can subscribe. We're going to be sending out a replay pack tomorrow, including these replays if you want to get your hands on some of these matches. Replay pack tomorrow for subscribers, and a whole bunch of other stuff coming up this month. We also have, for the rest of the ways to support, cheers, donations, and all the rest of it. So you guys can check that out if you fancy it. And it's always greatly appreciated. It allows us to keep on coming back and bringing you guys even more StarCraft 2. Two Queens sit at the front of this natural expansion, and Overlord sat in the center here from soO as well. Starport on the way up from GuMiho as we see that barracks going to lift up off the reactor. Factory will land on down, and we are going to be seeing 2 Hellions on the way out. There's a couple of Hellions popping down out. The Starport is coming down here yet again. Only 1 gas from GuMiho, so probably just going to be a singular Medevac. I guess with 1 gas, you can build up quite a few different things. It really is crazy just because there's gas mines for so much longer before the Starport is up, etc. 1 gas actually does quite a lot that you wouldn't usually see with kind of like a in kind of 12 worker start. 1 gas and a 12 worker start really does suggest a free CC coming in the very near future. We'll see these Lings are starting to have a fight with these Marines. There'll be 4 Lings for the 2 Marines, and they still get the Overlord kill as well. So GuMiho will be happy with that. It's the Widowmine drop once again here by GuMiho. 2 Widowmines on the way out, and well, let's see if it does a similar amount of damage to what it's been doing previously, because again, soO has been struggling to stay in these games with GuMiho. He's been struggling to just even get into a mid-game without trailing heavily behind. So let's see if he can find something to change that up, something to fix himself up here. As we see this Reaper gonna just move around the back of the 3rd hatchery. Just gonna sit there a couple moments, have a little bit of a think as to what's gonna be going on. Have a little bit of a think as to where he wants to go next. Cryptium is popping on down from soO as well, pushing on forwards. Looking to spread out further onto the map, and yeah, see pushing further onto the map. We see GuMiho here with these couple of Widowmines going to be coming through the south side of the map as well. So they're going to be coming through the south and getting ready to unload in towards the main base here in the next few moments also. So that's all getting set up and ready to go. The Viking is on the way up here from GuMiho now, so we're also getting this rolling as GuMiho starts to move out into the center of the map. Look to see what else he can do. Widowmines will go off on the Overlord here. And that is a lot of what you can do with these first couple of Widowmines. You can just go hunting Overlords kind of somewhat more effectively than you might initially imagine. 4 Hellions then are going to loop around and look to drop into the back of the main base mineral line. And so far, what does soO have up defensively? Well, some Zerglings are running towards a Reaper over here. These Widowmines are going to relocate. And here we go. The Hellions come in. 2 drones get burnt down instantly. And GuMiho will lose one of his Widowmines. Now he has to get away from these Zerglings as well. We'll sit in this little bit of a gap. Medevac comes through, lifts those Hellions. Nothing lost, drones killed, and mining time denied for, well, just yet another few seconds here. Whoa, Widowmine. Up to 8 kills now. That's 7 more Zerglings it just picked up. Or maybe the 8, actually, if the other one was the one that got the kill on the Overlord. Either way, it's good damage being done. As the Viking out now as well, just shutting down Overlord's double armor. We're seeing that mech play once again from GuMiho, setting up into this one more time. See what else he can do. I love this damage Hellion just being kept in the medevac. The other Hellions being sent forward. It only takes 3 workers to kill off a drone. 3 Hellions to kill off a drone. So it's all he needs, as we're going to be seeing 1 or 2 of them actually going to get taken down now. That third Hellion is actually quite thankful he got damaged early. He got special treatment, got held back. The other healthy Hellions ended up dying. That said, it's still smart by GuMiho, of course. I mean, if he'd sent that damaged Hellion, he would have lost that one as well, most likely. So, good plays. Really making the most out of every single unit he can here so far. As we're going to see some Hellions moving out onto the map once again. A couple Overlords still spread out here. Viking hasn't found this one up top. It's had a good time though. 2 kills already. If he finds this one, that would be kill number 3. Time is kind of running out though for GuMiho to kind of move around with that Viking, because Hydra's Den is about to finish. And that's Hydra's. Hydras will be kind of obviously a good way to shut down that Viking, as we're going to see again though. Drones under fire. Yeah, I kind of feel like, when it's the 3rd game of you dying to Hellions, just kind of killing all your drones, that maybe it's time to start building some static defense. Like, especially if you're not going to play roaches or something that's a little bit sturdier that can just sit in each mineral line. Maybe like a spine crawler would go a long way to actually just being able to defend this. Like, I don't know. Just feels as though it should be though. I mean, I don't want to doubt soO, but right now it feels as though he's running into a brick wall, and he's getting up and he's like, you know what a really great way to get around this brick wall would be? Running straight at it again. And just hoping it breaks down. Only kind of, the problem is he's like, it's not really a brick wall because he's not running into anything. He's just sitting there and dying. So it's more like, someone's dropping a boulder on top of him. And instead of like thinking, how can I avoid this boulder? He's just like, I'll just let it drop on top of me again. I don't know, like, it's not working very well for soO, whatever's happening. Like, he should be, moving out the way of the boulder, finding solutions, and he really isn't finding solutions. 3rd game in a row, he's very much so just dying in a very similar way. And sure, it can be tough to adjust for a series, but we're talking about a 6-time GSL finalist. This is the sort of guy that should be able to adjust for a series and shouldn't just be dying to Hellions back to back to back. 4s continue to come out here for GuMiho. And well, I feel like a broken record. In a couple of minutes, GuMiho is going to be hitting 150-ish supply. From there on up, it's going to be, at any moment, an opportunity for him to realistically push across and to do some real damage in this game. We're actually already going to see 2 4s are going to load up into medevacs and going over to the right-hand side to try and see what else is going on. Peanut TNP in the chest as soon insists on blocking the builder with his face. Yeah, it sort of feels like it, right? Like, he's literally just, he keeps getting punched in the face, and instead of blocking, he's just like, okay, just punch me again, because, I mean, it already hurts. So if it already hurts, I mean, it can't hurt more. I don't know, like, it's really not, we can put a million analogies to it, probably better ones than I have, but they're really not, all of them are basically, the point is, soO should be doing something different. You're going to see these 4s will actually have the time of their life against these few Zerglings and the Spore Crawler they picked off, although, medevac goes down, that's not great. Oh, wow, soO gets both medevacs, which means both 4s will go down. If both 4s go down, all of a sudden, soO is going to be having... He's killed something! He's done something good! He's actually going to do something which slows GuMiho down. That's kind of huge. A couple 4s falling. It may just weaken up GuMiho's push. Enough for soO to survive after such a terrible opening yet again. Well, let's find out, as we're going to be seeing a few Banes up here get shut down. GuMiho still finding advantages by just shutting soO's possible attacks down. I like the couple of Vipers coming out, and what's different this time to game number 1, which is when he played kind of Ling Bane Hydra into Vipers, is he didn't invest into the Ultras Cavern here, so a few more resources going to be able to go the way of just Ling Bane Hydra, rather than banking up to make Ultralisks as this push arrives. A lot of Hellions coming across the map. Hydras will want to try and spread out to fight this, if they are going to fight it at all. Concaved Hydras will just minimize that splash damage of the Hellions, and that's the one way he's going to be able to actually deal with this without too much of an issue. The Banes will be very effective to clean out those Hellions, of course, and if the Banes get rid of the Hellions, the Hydras can very quickly converge on the rest of the army, so that's something we're watching out for here as well. Uh-oh, Hellions have to kite! They will kite, and those Banes will not get as much damage as they were maybe about to get done. There's a scary couple of moments there. It looked as though soO might have been able to kill off a whole bunch. Doesn't happen just yet, though. GuMiho 180-ish supply. There we go, moving out yet again. I mean, it's a very simple formula for GuMiho. It's not like he's doing anything crazy. He's macroing with mech up to like 150, 180 while throwing Hellions at soO, and once he hits 180 supply, that's when he starts to push on out while continuing to expand. I mean, that is it. Like, in 3 simple steps: 1, make Hellions an attack; 2, make an army; and 3, push out. Like, it really isn't rocket science what GuMiho is doing right now, but it's just so effective. Tanks will begin to siege on up as soO will be looking to defend the 5th base. Where's the rest of his army? So much Lingbane Hydra to the south, which is just not taking part in this. Not a great start. Vikings at the front are going to make it scary for those Vipers to come on into play. We're going to be seeing the initial Viper there. He's taking some damage, hasn't used any energy just yet. Needs another transfuse. 1 Viper goes down full of energy. The transfuse comes down on this next Hydra. Finally a couple blinding clouds. Is it enough though for soO to defend this? Well, tanks are starting to fall, but very slowly. Some Bane's going to come forwards here as well. The 4 is still alive up top. It's not enough, is it? As Hellions come across the map to reinforce this, GuMiho is going to hold his position. He's going to be able to continue to push on forwards. Okay, soO has a 5th base up top, but he doesn't have much army to defend with anymore. He's now making pure Hydralisk with a handful of Banelings. He's only going to have 1 Viper, which is super low on HP already, which that's going to be a massive issue, because we already saw kind of, 2 Vipers before were barely able to get a couple of blinding clouds off. So this is going to be a little bit problematic. No transfuses here ever, as we're just going to be seeing Banes rolling forwards once again. Going to try and connect in on some of this, and Abducts will come forwards to bring 1 tank further in. And sure, that tank might very well go down, but it's still not quite going to be the savior that soO needs. He is going to be able to maybe just about push through the last few tanks here. They're not even sieging up. You're going to see a little bit of micro out of GuMiho to make the most of his units. Nice lift ups, and he keeps some of these low health tanks alive. Really cute play by GuMiho, and it's just going to be too much. soO doesn't have anything to keep on fighting with. GG, GuMiho 3-0 in our first semi.